Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Game week 2, what an absolute disaster. I barely scraped 45 points, and honestly, it was one of the worst FPL weeks I've ever had. Players blanking left, injuries before kickoff, some questionable transfer decisions. It all added up to a nightmare. But hey, we move. What's the beauty of FPL, right? One terrible week can be followed by a redemption arc, and Game Week 3 is the perfect chance to bounce back. So in today's video, I'll be walking you through my brand new draft for Game Week 3. We'll go position by position, talk about the players I'm sticking with, the ones who are on thin ice, and the possible transfers I'm eyeing up. I'll also highlight some of the players worth keeping an eye on from Game Week 2, and whether they're worth jumping on right now, or if we should stay patient. And just like always, I'll be brutally honest about my mistakes last week, what I've learned from them, and how that's shaping the way I'm approaching this draft. Make sure to stick around till the end, because I'll also give you my early captaincy thoughts, and talk about whether this could be the week to make an aggressive move, maybe even consider the free hit if your squad is in absolute chaos. Let's get straight into it. I'm sticking with Sanchez. Fulham at home is exactly the sort of fixture you hold your nerve for. Low shot quality, a few team efforts to pad the save tally, and a clean hyphen sheet that's there if Chelsea don't self-sabotage. Odds like this as one of the better clean sheet chances of the week, and even if Fulham nick a couple of efforts, Sanchez has the frame to gobble them up and bank the 1-point save bonus. Yes, last week's long-range howler still lives rent-free in my head. I aged 5 years watching that. But keepers bounce. If he gives me a 6 with a sniff of bonus, we're laughing. If he spills another daisy cutter, I'll pretend I always planned a Game Week 4 keeper transfer. Simple. Milenkovic is in for upside. West Ham aren't exactly renowned for marking like hawks from dead balls, and Big Nico lives for that back post wrestle. He's the sort of unit who turns a scrappy corner into a 9.12 before you've finished your cuppa. From open play, he racks up the clearances blocks that feed baseline bonus, and at home, I fancy Forest to keep it compact enough that one set piece can swing the match. Worst case, he's a steady 2. Best case, we're talking clean sheet plus bullet header, and I'm claiming I saw it coming in July. It's calculated violence at corners, my favorite kind of FPL bet. Richards away to Villa isn't dreamy, but it's sensible. Palace have looked organised, compact between the lines, and Richards himself passes the eye test. Aggressive stepping out, decent recovery pace, and he's not shy about nicking a bonus point when Palace keep it tight. Villa are capable of chaos, but they're not at full throttle yet, so this feels like a controlled risk. Also, my alternatives aren't exactly Paolo Maldini, so we embrace the grind, take the likely 2, hope for a sneaky 0-0, and if he nabs a headed chance from a set piece, we call it genius. It's one of those picks where you accept the floor and pray to Saint variance for the ceiling. Dialing up on Chelsea defense, I know, brave or foolish, maybe both. But Cucurella gets the nod for the attacking lanes. He's been hugging the touchline, underlapping when the winger pins the fullback, and he's got that whipped cross that causes second ball chaos. The beauty of the double is leverage. If Chelsea hold, we double dip. If they don't, I'll be stress-eating by halftime. I'm also quietly chasing an attacking return here. One overlap, cut back, and suddenly last week's assist wasn't a one-off. Rotation is always a whisper with Chelsea, but for this home fixture, I'm backing minutes plus menace. Give me 6 to 7 points and a calm pulse, please. So, first things first, Palmer's out and Cunha's in. Not just for vibes, though I won't lie, I enjoy the chaos, but for 2 very pragmatic reasons. 1, Palmer's injury makes him dead weight. 2, Cunha was about to rise, and nothing tilts me more than missing a 0.1 when I know I want the guy anyway. Now, United versus Burnley at Old Trafford. That's about as close to a gift fixture as you'll get on paper. United have been a mess, yes, but fixture breeds form. And after that embarrassing cup loss to Grimsby Town, a League Two side, they're gonna come out like a wounded animal. Kuhn is not the safest pick, but he's direct. He'll get chances, and this could be the spark United desperately need. It's a calculated gamble, but one that feels like it's got short-term payoff written all over it. Rangers, away to Brighton. This is one of those picks that tests your patience. 2 points last week, and it's like he's permanently stuck in second gear. But here's the thing. He's actually been ticking along under the hood. His progressive carries and link play look good, but the end product just isn't translating into FPL returns. Against Brighton, it's a tough test. They're a team that suffocates space and can punish you if you switch off. But also, and this is why I hold him, Brighton games tend to be open. There will be gaps, and if Reinders finds himself in the half space with one clean strike, suddenly he's on the board. Am I confident? Not especially. But do I see the logic in riding this one out another week before panicking? Absolutely. Here's where it gets spicy. Gakpo at home to Arsenal isn't exactly the plum fixture we dream about, but let's give credit where it's due. He was excellent against Newcastle. 2 assists, looked sharp, and he continues to feel criminally undervalued in this game. The narrative is that Liverpool attackers always rise for the big games at Anfield, and Gakpo's movement between the lines could cause Arsenal centre-backs headaches. I'm not expecting a hat-trick, but one attacking return here would be massive. And he's shown he doesn't need a ton of chances to deliver. He's my quiet confidence pick this week, the one where, if he hauls, I'll smugly pretend I always knew. Now, Rodgers. This one's more of a heart pick than a head pick at the moment. 2 pointers 2 weeks running, Villa disappointing against Brentford, and you start to wonder if he's just a passenger. But I'm stubborn. I've seen the flashes. Rodgers is tidy on the ball, drifts into those creative zones, and Palace, while defensively solid, can be stretched if Villa click. What I need from Rodgers is simply to show up. A couple of dangerous runs, one key pass, something to suggest there's more than just 2 points in him. I'm holding a little longer, hoping that home advantage unlocks him. If he blanks again, then yeah, alarm bells. And then, of course, the king, Salah. Still got me an assist last week, captained him for 10 points, and, while people keep doubting, he just finds a way. Arsenal at home is never easy, but this is exactly why you pay the premium. He delivers against anyone, anywhere. The late assist last week shows he's always alive, always sniffing for something, and even if Liverpool don't dominate the ball, Salah will get chances. The way I see it, you don't overthink these things. You buy your premium, you slap the armband on him, and you sleep easy. Could Arsenal frustrate him? Sure. Could he pop up with a brace from nowhere? Also yes. I'm not in the business of betting against Mo Salah at Anfield. Then over to the strikers. Mateta. Mate, what are we doing here? 2 points again, and honestly, he's giving me nothing to cling on to. Palace creates so little, and when they do, it feels like Sar's usually the one on the end of it. Mateta just sort of exists up top. He's physical, he'll press, he'll run the channels, but in FPL terms, that's basically invisible. Now, Villa away this week, not exactly ideal. Villa have looked shaky at times, but even so, I can't imagine Palace rocking up and creating 10 chances. This is one of those picks where you start staring at your transfer button thinking, why did I do this to myself? The only sliver of hope is that Villa looks a bit unsure at the moment, and maybe Mateta can bully his way onto a header. But realistically, if he blanks again, I'm going to have to start looking at exit routes. He's on very thin ice. And then there's Watkins. Another 2 points last week, and this one stings a bit more because he's supposed to be the reliable one. We all know what Watkins brings. The runs in behind, the work rate, the consistency. Except right now, the consistency is just 2 points. Villa were flat against Brentford, no spark, and Watkins barely had a sniff. But here's the thing, at home to Palace, this is where you want to hold your nerve. Watkins thrives in these mid-table clashes where Villa dominate the ball. Palace are a tough nut to crack defensively, but Watkins has that knack for popping up at the right moment. I'm not panicking yet. He's still on penalties, he's still central to everything Villa do, and it only takes one scrappy goal for the confidence to flood back. That being said, if he blanks again, then we're talking about a serious cold streak, and I might have to rethink. For now though, I'm gritting my teeth and giving him the benefit of a doubt. Alright, time for everyone's favorite part, the bench. The land of lost potential and cheap enablers. Starting with Dubravka, backup keeper. That's literally his job description. He's the kind of guy you keep around for peace of mind, like a spare tire. You don't really want to use him, and if you do, something's already gone horribly wrong. So for now, he sits there, watching from a safe distance while my starting keeper hopefully does the actual work. Next up, Mark Guéhi, my proud 4.5 mil striker, which is just FPL code for he will never play, but he exists to make the numbers add up. He's basically the decorative fruit ball on the kitchen table. Looks like part of the squad, but no one's actually touching it. If he scores at any point this season, I'll probably frame it and retire from the game altogether. Then we've got Estev. Now, here's a rare story. Came in last week, gave me a clean sheet, and instantly became the MVP of the entire team. And what's his reward? A one-way ticket straight back to the bench. That's FPL for you. Honestly, I feel a bit guilty. He did the job, delivered the goods, and still gets demoted. But hey, that's the cold, harsh reality of being my 4.0 defender. Still Estev, mate. I see you. Hero status secured. Finally, Anderson. Solid defender, but he's up against Chelsea away this week. And let's be real, the last thing I need is watching one of my own defenders be part of a highlight reel for someone else's winger. So onto the bench he goes. A tactical exile. Don't worry, mate. Your time will come, just not this week. Alright, let's take a look at some players worth keeping an eye on. First up, Semenyo. 2 games, 2 returns. The bloke's basically decided he's prime Salah now. He's got Spurs away this week, which on paper looks a bit rough. But if there's one guy from a mid-table side who could pull something out of nowhere against tough opposition, it's him. Honestly, I'm starting to think he might be fixture-proof. Which, of course, is also the quickest way to jink him into blanking the next 3 weeks straight. But hey, enjoy the ride while it lasts. Next, the big man himself, Haaland. Didn't score last week, which in FPL terms is basically a national crisis. Feels weird when he goes goalless, like the sun forgetting to rise. But this week looks different. City will want to bounce back after that little embarrassment against Spurs, and when City get angry, Haaland usually does the shouting. If you don't have him, good luck watching behind the sofa. And finally, Chris Wood. Yes, that Chris Wood. The man's a tank in the air, lives for those scrappy goals, and honestly, looks like he enjoys wrestling centre-backs more than scoring. But the bonus here, West Ham are absolute clowns at defending set pieces. Like, if you gave them a stepladder and 3 practice runs, they'd still lose the header, which makes this the perfect Chris Wood fixture. Long term, he's quietly looking like a solid option too, as long as you're prepared to accept his goals will never, ever be pretty. And that's the draft heading into Gameweek 3. Bench full of legends who'll never play, a few punts who'll almost definitely let me down, and, of course, Salah, because apparently we're not allowed to have fun without him. If you enjoyed this, do the usual YouTube admin. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, maybe even drop a comment if you feel like telling me how bad my team is. Always appreciated. Good luck this week. May your punts actually deliver, and may your captain not blank. I'll see you back here for the inevitable meltdown after the weekend. Cheers.